Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his face as he looked at the mining equipment. The red dust from the planet Zarian 7 covered everything. His blue jumpsuit was dirty and torn in several places. He'd been working on this planet for 3 years. Now, every day was the same. Wake up, mine the crystals, eat bad food, sleep in a small metal room. "Captain Morrison, the Zephyrian Overseer wants to see you," said Lisa Taylor as she walked up to him. Lisa was his second in command on the mining ship New Horizon. She was a smart woman with short brown hair and tired eyes, like Jake. She had been working for the aliens for many years. Jake put down his tools and followed Lisa to the main building. The building was made of white metal and was much cleaner than where the humans lived. Inside, the air was cool and fresh. The Zephyrian Overseer sat behind a large desk. His skin was purple, and he had 4 arms. His name was Crixval, and he looked down at humans like they were insects. "Human Morrison," Crixval said in his cold voice. "Your team is working too slowly. Now the crystal quota must be met, or there will be punishment." Jake kept his face calm, even though he was angry inside. "Sir, we are working as fast as we can. The equipment is old and breaks down often." Crixval made a sound that might have been laughter. Humans always have excuses. "Species was brought into the Galactic Confederation to work. That is your purpose. Nothing more." Jake remembered when the aliens first came to Earth 50 years ago. His grandfather had told him stories about that day. Aliens had huge ships that filled the sky. They said they came in peace. They said they wanted to help Earth join the galaxy. But it was all lies. The Confederation had many alien races. The Zephyrians were the leaders. They were tall and thin with purple skin. The Vortaki were short and fat with green skin. The Nexari looked like giant bugs. All of them agreed on one thing. Humans were good for hard work and nothing else. "Go back to work," Crixval ordered. "And remember, humans who do not work do not eat." Jake and Lisa left the building and walked back to the mining site. The sun was setting and the sky was turning orange. In the distance, Jake could see the alien city. It had tall towers and flying cars. The aliens lived in comfort while humans worked in the dirt. "I found something today," Lisa whispered to Jake when they were alone, hidden in the old computer files. Jake looked around to make sure no one was listening. "What kind of something?" "Messages. Between the alien races? They talk about us like we are animals. They call us worker units." Lisa pulled out a small device and showed Jake the screen. The writing was in alien language, but Lisa had learned to read some of it during her years of work. "Look at this part," she said, pointing to the screen. "It says humans are perfect workers because we can live in many different places. We can work in hot places, cold places, places with poison air. They say we are too stupid to rebel." Jake felt anger growing in his chest. He had suspected this for years, but seeing it written down made it real. What else does it say? They vote on everything. Every alien race gets to vote on what happens to humans. And every single race voted to keep us as workers forever. Jake thought about his son back on Earth. The boy was only 12 years old, but in a few years he would be sent to work on an alien planet just like Jake. All human children had to work. For the Confederation, when they turned 16, it was the law. "There is more," Lisa continued. "They keep records of how long humans live when they work for them. The average is 12 years, Jake. 12 years, and then we die from the hard work, or the bad air, or the accidents." Jake felt sick. 12 years. He had already worked for 8 years. That meant he might only have 4 years left to live. And for what? "So aliens could live in nice cities while humans died in mines. We need to tell the others," Jake said. "Have to be careful. If they find out we know, they will kill us." That night, Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about the messages Lisa had found. He thought about all the humans working on dangerous planets across the galaxy. He thought about the children on Earth who would soon be sent away from their families. The next morning, Jake's team went back to the mines. They worked with Nathan Brooks, a man who used to be a scientist on Earth. Nathan was smart and knew a lot about technology. Aliens made him fix their machines when they broke. "Nathan," Jake called out when the alien guards were not looking. "Can you come here?" Nathan walked over. He was a thin man with gray hair and glasses that were held together with tape. "What do you need, Jake?" Jake told Nathan about the messages Lisa had found. Nathan listened carefully, and his face grew angry. "I have been working in their computer centers," Nathan said quietly. "I have seen things too. Bad things." "What kind of things?" "They have plans for humans. Not just working plans. They want to control how many children we can have. They want to make sure we never get too many or too smart." Jake felt his hands shake with anger. The aliens did not just want humans to work. They wanted to control every part of human life. "There is something else," Nathan continued. "I have been to their medical centers. They do experiments on humans who get sick or hurt. They want to learn how to make us work better and live longer, but only so we can work more." As the day went on, Jake shared the information with more trusted members of his team. Amy Collins was a young engineer who maintained the mining equipment. Ryan Hughes was the foreman of the day shift. Both of them had been working for the aliens for several years. Dawn knew something was wrong, Amy said, when Jake told her about the messages. "The aliens always have the best food and the best medicine, but humans get sick and die all the time. My brother died last year on Titan Station," Ryan added. "They said it was an accident, but I know he was working with broken safety equipment. The aliens would not spend money to fix it." That evening, Jake's team made a discovery that changed everything. They were working in a deep part of the mine when Amy found something strange in the rock. "Captain, you need to see this," Amy called. Out Jake climbed down to where Amy was working. In the wall of the mine, there was a metal door that was very old. The metal was not like anything the humans or the current aliens used. "This looks ancient," Nathan said as he examined the door. "Much older than the Confederation." Jake touched the door, and it opened with a soft sound. Inside was a small room, with walls covered in strange writing and pictures. The center of the room was a large crystal that glowed with soft blue light. "What is this place?" Lisa asked. Nathan studied the writing on the walls. Some of it looked familiar to him. "Think this is from another race? A race that is not part of the Confederation?" As Nathan continued to examine the room, he found something that made him go pale. "Jake, look at this picture." The picture showed creatures that looked like the current Confederation aliens, but they were in chains.
Ow.
They were working in mines just like the humans were now. "I think," Nathan said slowly, "that the Confederation has done this before. 2 other races." Jake stared at the picture. If Nathan was right, then humans were not the first race to be enslaved by the Confederation. There had been others before. Them and those others were probably dead now. "We have to hide this place," Jake said finally. "And we have to learn everything we can from it." As they sealed the ancient room and returned to their regular work, Jake felt something he had not felt in years. Hope. The ancient race had left this room for a reason. Maybe they had left tools or knowledge that could help humans fight back. That night, as Jake lay in his small metal room, he made a decision. He would not let humans suffer forever. He would find a way to fight back against the aliens who had enslaved his people. He did not know it yet. But this was the beginning of the end for the Galactic Confederation. 3 years had passed since Jake Morrison and his team found the ancient alien room.
Ow.
Jake was now known among human workers across many planets. He was careful, but word spread quietly from one mining ship to another. Humans were starting to whisper about fighting back. Amy Collins had become very good at her secret work. She was still fixing mining equipment during the day, but at night she worked on something much more important. She had built a communication system that could send messages between different planets without the aliens knowing about it. "Jake, I have news from the Kepler system," Amy said, as she showed him her hidden computer. The screen was small, and the letters were hard to read, but it worked. "What kind of news?" Jake asked. "Ryan Hughes found something big." "Remember Ryan? He works on Kepler 44b now." Jake remembered Ryan. He was a good man who had worked with them on Zarian 7. The aliens had moved him to a different planet 2 years ago. Jake had not heard from him since then. Amy pressed some buttons on her computer. "Ryan says they found old alien technology in their mine. Really old, like what we found, but much bigger." Jake felt excited. Can he get it out? He already did. And Jake, Nathan Brooks, figured out how to use it. Nathan had been moved to a research station called Alpha 7. The aliens made him work on their computers and machines. But Nathan was using his access to learn alien technology and help the human resistance. What does the technology do? Jake asked. Amy smiled for the first time in months. It can turn off the control chips the aliens put in our heads. Jake touched the back of his neck. All humans had small chips put there when they started working for the aliens. The chips made humans feel calm and obedient. They made it hard to think about fighting back or escaping. Nathan tested it on some volunteers, Amy continued. The chips stopped working. The humans became fully awake for the first time in years. This was the best news Jake had heard since the rebellion started. If they could free humans from the control chips, they could build a real resistance. But there was also bad news. Amy's face became serious as she continued reading the messages. Kevin Stone tried to talk to the Confederation Council again. She said Kevin Stone was one of the few humans allowed to speak for Earth. He was called an ambassador. Everyone knew he had no real power. The aliens only kept him around to pretend they cared what humans thought. What happened? Jake asked. They laughed at him. He asked for better working conditions and safer equipment. The Zephyrian Chancellor told him that humans should be grateful, to serve their superiors. Jake felt anger burning in his chest. He had heard stories about Kevin Stone's meetings with the Alien Council. Every time, the aliens treated him like a joke. There is more, Amy said, her voice getting quieter. I intercepted AZZ communication between the council members. They are planning something called the Final Solution. What is that? Amy looked, scared as she read from her screen. They want to stop humans from having children. They have enough human workers now, so they do not want the human population to grow anymore. Jake felt sick. The aliens were not just enslaving humans. They were planning to slowly kill off the entire human race. How long do we have? Jake asked. The plan is supposed to start in 2 years. They will put chemicals in our food and water. That will make humans unable to have babies. Jake knew he had to act fast. 2 years was not much time to organize a rebellion across the entire galaxy. Over the next few months, Amy's communication network grew bigger. She now had contact with human workers on over 50 planets. Each group was small and careful, but together, they were becoming powerful. On the industrial planet Kepler 442b, Ryan Hughes was doing more than just finding ancient technology. He was training other humans to fight. Ryan had been a soldier on Earth before the aliens came. He knew how to use weapons and how to plan attacks. The aliens think we are weak because we have been slaves for so long, Ryan sent a message too. Jake, but we know their systems better than they do. We maintain their equipment. We know where all the weak points are. This was true. Humans had been forced to learn how alien technology worked so they could fix it when it broke. The aliens had given humans access to their most important systems because they thought humans were too controlled and stupid to use that. Knowledge against them, Dr. Nathan Brooks had made another important discovery at his research station. Found that many alien races in the Confederation were actually afraid of humans. The alien leaders had told their people that humans were dangerous warriors who had to be kept under strict control. The regular alien citizens believe humans are monsters, Nathan sent in one of his messages. They think the control chips are the only thing stopping us from destroying everything. This gave Jake an idea. The aliens were already afraid of humans, then showing them human strength might cause panic in the Confederation. Meanwhile, on Earth, Carol Fleming was doing her part for the resistance. Carol worked for the puppet human government that the aliens had set up. Her job was to organize the shipping of young humans to work planets across the galaxy. But Carol was secretly helping families hide their children. She changed records and created false documents. Instead of sending teenagers to alien planets, she helped them escape to hidden camps in Earth's wilderness. I saved 43 children this month, Carol reported through Amy's network. But the aliens are starting to notice that the numbers do not match. The resistance was growing, but so was the danger. The aliens were beginning to suspect that something was wrong. Human workers were making small mistakes that hurt alien operations. Equipment was breaking down more often. Production numbers were dropping. On Titan Station, Tony Garcia had started a new type of resistance. Tony was a maintenance worker who fixed life support systems on alien space stations. He knew exactly how to make small changes that would cause big problems later. "I can make their air recyclers fail slowly," Tony sent a message to the network. "It will take weeks for them to notice, and by then the damage will be done." These small acts of sabotage were happening across the galaxy. Humans were using their knowledge of alien systems to cause problems. But they were being very careful not to hurt other humans who worked on the same stations. The ancient technology that Ryan had found was being studied by Nathan and other smart humans in the network. They learned that the alien race who built it had also been enslaved by the Confederation. But unlike humans, they had fought back and lost. The Confederation had killed them all. "We found records," Nathan reported. "The Confederation has done this at least 3 times before. They find a race that is good at working. They enslave them, and when the race becomes trouble, they destroy it completely." This news made the resistance more urgent. Humans were not the first slaves of the Confederation, and if they did not fight back successfully, they would end up like the others, completely extinct. But the ancient technology also gave them hope. The extinct race had hidden weapons and tools that could be used against the Confederation. They had been planning their own rebellion when they were discovered and destroyed. "We can finish what they started," Jake told his core team during a secret meeting. "We have their technology, and we know the aliens' weaknesses." Jake looked around the room at his friends and fellow rebels. Lisa Taylor had become an expert at gathering intelligence from alien communications. Amy Collins had built a network that connected human resistance cells across the galaxy. Nathan Brooks was learning to use ancient weapons that could defeat alien technology. "The aliens made a mistake when they gave us access to their systems," Jake said. "They thought the control chips would keep us loyal forever. But now that we can turn off the chips, we can show them what humans are really capable of." The room was quiet as everyone understood what this meant. They were no longer just trying to improve their working conditions. They were planning to overthrow the most powerful empire in the galaxy. "Are we ready for war?" Lisa asked. Jake thought about his son back on Earth, and about all the human children who would be enslaved if the resistance failed. He thought about the final solution and what it would mean for the human race. "We do not have a choice," he said finally. "It is freedom or extinction." Jake Morrison looked at the small device in his hands. It was no bigger than a coin, but Nathan Brooks had told him it could change everything. The device could turn off the controlled chips that the aliens had put in human heads. But using it was dangerous. "The first time we tested it, the human went crazy." Nathan had warned him through Amy's communication system. 50 years of blocked thoughts and feelings came back all at once.
Ow.
Some humans cannot handle it. Jake was meeting with his core team in an abandoned mining tunnel on Zarian 7. Lisa Taylor sat across from him, and Amy Collins was monitoring for alien patrols. They had been joined by Sam Peters, a man who had just arrived on their planet. Sam Peters was different from most humans Jake had met. Stood straight and moved like a soldier. His eyes were sharp and alert, even with the control chip in his head. Sam had been a military officer on Earth before the aliens came. Confederation had sent him to work in the mines as punishment for asking too many questions. "I remember the old days," Sam said quietly. "I remember when humans had real armies and real weapons. We were not always slaves." Jake activated the device and held it near Sam's head. There was a soft beeping sound, and then Sam's eyes went wide. His whole body started shaking. Double quotes, "Sam, can you hear me?" Jake asked Sam put his hands over his face and made sounds like he was crying. For several minutes he could not speak. When he finally looked up, his eyes were completely different. They were full of anger and pain, but also determination. "I remember everything now," Sam said, his voice stronger than before. "I remember what we used to be, what they took from us." The process was hard to watch, but it worked. Over the next few weeks, Jake's team carefully freed more humans from their control chips. They had to be very careful about who they chose. Some humans had been under control for so long that freedom broke their minds. Ellen Davis was a woman who helped with This problem? She had been a counselor on Earth before the aliens came. Ellen knew how to help humans deal with the shock of getting their real thoughts back. We have to go slowly, Ellen explained to Jake. When humans remember their old lives, they also remember everyone they lost. They remember their children who were taken away. They remember their friends who died in the mines. It is too much pain all at once. Ellen developed a way to help humans adjust to freedom. She would talk to them for hours, helping them understand their feelings and make plans for the future. Without Ellen's help, many freed humans would have given up or done something dangerous. Meanwhile, on Earth, Carol Fleming was discovering terrible things about the alien occupation. Carol still worked for the puppet human government, but now she was fully awake, thanks to one of Nathan's devices. They have been lying about everything, Carol reported through the communication network. The history books they give to human children are all fake. They say humans were always weak and stupid. They say Earth begged the aliens to come and help us. Carol had found the real history hidden in alien computer files. Before the Confederation came, humans had been exploring space on their own. They had built settlements on Mars and the Moon. They had developed advanced technology and were becoming a real space-traveling civilization. We were not primitive when they found us, Carol continued. We were competition. That is why they destroyed our space program and made us into slaves. This news made the Resistance even more angry. The aliens had not just enslaved humans, they had stolen humanity's future and then lied about it for 50 years. Danny.
Us.
Walsh was doing his part on the industrial station called Titan Base. Danny was an engineer who maintained the power systems that kept the station running. But now that his control chip was disabled, Danny was using his knowledge to plan something big. I can shut down the entire station, Danny told Jake through a secret message. But I need to get all the humans off first. There are 3,000 human workers here. This was the kind of operation the Resistance needed to plan carefully. It could not just attack alien installations randomly. They had to make sure no humans were hurt in the process. Amy Collins had improved her communication system so much that it could now coordinate complex operations across multiple planets. The Resistance was becoming a real military force, even though they still had to work as miners and maintenance workers during the day. Dr. Nathan Brooks made another important discovery at his research station. He found that the ancient alien technology could do more than just disable control chips. It could also disrupt Confederation computer systems. I created a virus, Nathan reported. It is hidden in the maintenance programs that humans use every day. When humans access alien computers to do their jobs, the virus spreads to the alien systems. The virus was designed to cause small problems at first. Alien computers would run slower or display wrong information. But over time, the problems would get worse until entire systems crashed. The beautiful part is that the aliens will ask humans to fix the computers, Nathan explained. They do not know that humans are the ones causing the problems. Tony Garcia was leading sabotage operations on 12 different space stations. Tony had trained other maintenance workers to cause specific types of damage that would look like accidents. We make their air recyclers work badly, so the alien sections of the station smell terrible, Tony reported. We make their food processors add too much salt or make food taste bitter, make their elevators stop working between floors. These small problems were making life miserable for alien overseers across the galaxy. The aliens were starting to get frustrated with their human workers. They did not suspect organized resistance yet. On the mining world of Kepler-4 for Tubi, Ryan Hughes had made a shocking discovery. While exploring the ancient ruins, Ryan found evidence that the Confederation had enslaved at least 5 different alien races over the past 1,000 years. Each time they used the same pattern, Ryan sent a message to the Resistance Network. They would find a race that was good at working or fighting. They would pretend to offer friendship and alliance. Then they would take over and turn the race into slaves. Ryan had found records showing that the previous enslaved races had all tried to rebel. Some rebellions had lasted for decades. But in the end, the Confederation had always won by using the other enslaved races to fight against the rebels. They turned slaves against each other, Ryan explained. When one race rebelled, they would promise freedom to another race if they helped stop the rebellion. This information was very important for planning the human rebellion. The resistance leaders now knew they had to be ready for the Confederation to use other enslaved races against humans. But Ryan also found good news in the ancient records. The last enslaved race had almost succeeded in their rebellion. Developed weapons and strategies that had brought the Confederation close to defeat. The only reason they failed was because they were betrayed by allies they trusted. We can learn from their mistakes, Jake told his team during a secret meeting. We know what worked and what did not work. The Resistance was also getting unexpected help from some alien races. A few species in the Confederation were starting to question whether enslaving humans was right. These aliens sent secret messages, offering to help the human rebellion. Not all aliens support what the Confederation is doing, Amy reported. Some of them remember when their own races were free before joining the Confederation. However, the Resistance leaders were careful about trusting alien allies. They remembered how previous rebel races had been betrayed. As the Resistance grew stronger, the aliens started to notice that something was wrong. Production numbers were dropping on many planets. Equipment was breaking down more often. Human workers were making more mistakes. Crixval, the Zephyrian overseer on Zarian 7, called Jake to his office again. Human Morrison, there have been many problems lately. The other overseers are asking questions about your planet. Jake kept his face calm, but inside he was ready. The Resistance had been preparing for this moment. We are working as hard as we can, sir, Jake said. Perhaps the equipment is getting too old. Crixval's 4 eyes stared at Jake suspiciously. Perhaps. Or perhaps some humans are not as obedient as they should be. That night, Jake sent an urgent message through Amy's network. They are getting suspicious. We need to be ready to act. Soon, the rebellion was no longer just growing. It was about to begin. The rebellion started on a Tuesday morning when Danny Walsh shut down Titan Base Jake. Morrison was in the mines of Zarian 7 when Amy Collins ran up to him with her communication device. Her face was excited and scared at the same time. Donnie, did it? She whispered. He turned off all the power on Titan Base. 3,000 humans are evacuating right now. Jake felt his heart beating fast. This was it. After years of planning, the real fight was beginning. But he also felt worried. Once the shooting started, there would be no going back. What about the aliens on the station? Jake asked. Was smart. He turned off life support in the alien sections first. The aliens had to evacuate too. No one died, but the aliens lost their biggest industrial base in the Outer Rim. Within hours, Amy's communication network was full of reports. From across the galaxy, human workers on dozens of planets were following Danny's example. They were shutting down power plants, disabling mining equipment, and walking away from their jobs. On the research station Alpha 7, Dr. Nathan Brooks activated his computer virus at full strength. Every alien computer system that humans had access to suddenly started failing. Navigation systems on spaceships stopped working. Communication networks went silent. Even simple things like door locks and food dispensers broke down. The aliens cannot understand what is happening, Nathan reported. They keep asking humans to fix their computers, not knowing that humans are the ones breaking them. Confederation was not helpless. On the third day of the rebellion, alien warships started arriving at planets where humans had stopped working. The ships were huge and covered in weapons. Jake had never seen anything so frightening. Crixval called Jake to his office one more time. But this time, the Zephyrian overseer was not sitting calmly behind his desk. He was standing up, and his purple skin looked darker than usual. 2 alien guards with energy weapons stood behind him. Human Morrison, you will tell your people too. Return to work immediately, Crixval said. His voice was angry and loud. Jake looked at the alien guards and their weapons. He knew this might be the last conversation he ever had. But Sam Peters had taught him something important. Sometimes you had to take risks to win. No, Jake said simply. Crixval's 4 eyes went wide. No human had ever said no to him before.
What did you say?
I said no.
Why?
We will not go back to work. We are not your slaves anymore. Crixfell made a gesture to one of the guards. The guard raised his weapon and pointed it at Jake, but before he could fire, the lights in the building went out. Amy had cut the power to the overseer's headquarters. In the darkness, Jake heard the sound of humans shouting outside. Through the window, he could see hundreds of human workers surrounding the building. They were carrying mining tools and construction equipment as weapons. You are surrounded, Jake, told Crixfell. Tell your guards to put down their weapons. For the first time in 50 years, an alien was afraid of humans. The rebellion spread faster than anyone had expected. On every planet where humans worked, the same thing was happening. Humans were taking control of the infrastructure they had been forced to maintain. They knew exactly where the weak points were, because they had been fixing alien systems for decades. Rachel Stone was leading evacuation. Efforts on the farming planet New Eden. Rachel had been an astronaut before the aliens came, and she knew how to pilot spacecraft. She was converting cargo ships into refugee vessels to get humans off dangerous planets. We have 15 ships loaded with families, Rachel reported through the communication network. But the alien patrol ships are trying to stop us. This was when the Resistance discovered something amazing. The alien patrol ships were old and slow compared to the cargo vessels that humans had been maintaining and improving for years. Human pilots who knew every bolt and wire in their ships could outfly alien pilots who just pressed buttons. The alien ships are falling apart, Rachel reported with surprise in her voice. Their engines are overheating, and their weapons are missing their targets. Oh no. I think they have not maintained their own equipment properly. This made sense to Jake. The aliens had become dependent on human workers to fix everything. When humans stopped working, alien technology started failing immediately. Dr. Nathan Brooks discovered why the alien equipment was so unreliable. In his research files, he found evidence that the Confederation had not developed most of their technology themselves. They had stolen it from the races they had enslaved and destroyed. They are not inventors, Nathan explained in a message to the resistance leaders. They are thieves. They take technology from other races and then kill the races who created it. That is why they need slaves to maintain everything. On Earth, Carol Fleming was coordinating the most important operation of the rebellion. She was organizing human children and teenagers to escape from the recruitment centers where they were waiting to be sent to alien planets. The puppet government is collapsing, Carol reported. Half of the human administrators have joined the rebellion. We control most of Earth's communication systems now. But Carol also had bad news. The Confederation is sending warships to Earth. They want to stop the rebellion at its source. Jake knew that Earth was not ready for a space battle. Humans had no warships of their own. The aliens had destroyed Earth's military 50 years ago, but Sam Peters had an idea. We do not need warships, Sam told Jake during an emergency meeting. We have something better. We have knowledge, Sam explained his plan. Humans worked on alien ships as maintenance crews and engineers. They knew exactly how alien weapons and shields worked. More importantly, they knew how to break them. Alien ship has human workers on board, Sam said. What if those workers decided to help us instead of the aliens? Amy Collins used her communication network to contact human workers on alien military ships across the galaxy. Simple. When the shooting starts, disable your ship's weapons and shields. The plan worked better than anyone had hoped. When alien warships tried to attack human-controlled planets, their own weapons stopped working. Their shields failed. Their engines shut down. The alien admirals cannot understand what is happening, reported a human worker on the Confederation. Flagship. They keep ordering us to fix the ships, but we just make the problems worse. On the industrial world of Kepler 4-4b, Ryan Hughes was leading a different kind of operation. Ryan had found ancient alien weapons in the ruins. These weapons were more advanced than anything the current Confederation had. The weapons still work after thousands of years, Ryan reported. And they are specifically designed to fight Confederation technology. Ryan's team was learning how to use the ancient weapons. They were also finding something else in the ruins. The extinct alien race had left detailed battle plans for fighting the Confederation. Oh, you They knew exactly how to beat the Confederation, Ryan explained. They just ran out of time before they could use their plans. As the rebellion continued, something unexpected started happening. Some alien races in the Confederation began switching sides. These aliens had been forced to join the Confederation long ago, and they were tired of following Zephyrian orders. The Nexari were the first to change sides. They looked like giant insects, but they were actually very intelligent. The Nexari had been conquered by the Confederation 300 years ago. "We remember what freedom was like," the Nexar ambassador sent a message to Jake. "We will help humans if humans help us." But not all alien races supported the rebellion. The Vortaki were completely loyal to the Confederation. They had become rich and powerful by helping to enslave other races. The Vortaki sent their own warships to fight against human rebels. "The Confederation is splitting apart," Amy reported as she monitored alien communications. "Some races are fighting each other instead of fighting us." This was exactly what the Resistance had hoped for. The ancient battle plans had warned that the Confederation's greatest weakness was distrust between different alien races. Jake stood on the observation deck of the New Horizon and looked out at space. 3 weeks ago, this had been an alien mining operation. Now, it was the headquarters of a human rebel fleet. Dozens of converted cargo ships were flying in formation around his ship. "Captain Morrison," Lisa Taylor said as she joined him at the window. "We are receiving surrender requests from 6 different alien colonies. They want to negotiate peace." Terms Jake could hardly believe what he was hearing. Aliens were surrendering to humans. The same aliens who had called humans inferior and stupid were now asking for mercy. "What should we tell them?" Lisa asked Jake. Thought about all the humans who had died in alien mines and factories. He thought about the children who had been taken from their families. Thought about the 50 years of lies and cruelty. But he also remembered what Ellen Davis had taught him about dealing with anger and pain. Revenge would not bring back the dead. The goal was freedom, not destruction. "Tell them we will talk," Jake said finally. "But they have to prove they are serious about change." The war was not over yet, but for the first time in 50 years, humans were winning. 2 years after the rebellion began, Jake Morrison stood in what used to be the Confederation Council chambers. The Great Hall was mostly empty now. Only a few alien representatives remained, and they all looked scared. The Zephyrian Chancellor Veltar was gone. He had fled to the far edge of the galaxy when his empire started collapsing. Most of his supporters had abandoned him when they realized that humans were not going to be stopped. "Admiral Morrison," said Ambassador Kevin Stone as he walked into the chamber. Kevin looked very different now. Instead of the tired, defeated man who used to beg aliens for scraps, he stood tall and confident. He represented a free Earth government now. "The Keplerians are here to see you," Kevin said. "They are waiting outside." Jake nodded. The Keplerians had been some of the worst overseers during the slavery years. They had worked humans to death in their crystal mines and never cared about safety. They were begging for mercy. The Keplerian delegation entered the chamber. There were 5 of them, and they all kept their heads down. Their leader was a female named Zixnara. She had been in charge of the mining operations where hundreds of humans had died. "Admiral Morrison, Zixnara," said in a quiet voice, "we come to ask for your protection." Jake found it strange to hear aliens asking humans for help. 2 years ago, these same aliens had treated humans like animals. "Protection from what?" Jake asked. "The Vortaki are attacking our colonies," Zixnara explained. "They blame us for losing the war against humans. They say we were weak overseers who let the slaves escape." Jake looked at Lisa Taylor, who was now his chief advisor. Lisa had spent the last 2 years studying what remained of the Confederation. She knew which alien races could be trusted and which ones were still dangerous. "The Keplerians were cruel to us," Lisa whispered to Jake. "But they are not lying about the Vortaki. The Vortaki have become pirates. They are attacking anyone who surrenders to us." This was the new reality in the galaxy. The Confederation had completely fallen apart. Some alien races were trying to make peace with humans. Others were fighting each other for control of what was left. A few races, like the Vortaki, had become raiders who attacked anyone they thought was weak. If we protect you, what will you give in return? Jake asked the Kepler. IANS. Nara reached into her bag and pulled out a data crystal. This contains the location of every slave labor camp the Confederation built. It also has the names of every human who died in our mines. Jake felt his anger rising. Thousands of humans had died building the Confederation's wealth. But he had learned to control his emotions during the war. Getting angry would not help. Anyone now? We also offer to serve as your vassals, Zixnara continued. Our people will work for humanity in whatever way you choose. We know we do not deserve forgiveness, but we hope you will be more merciful than we were. Jake thought about this offer. Having alien races serve humans would be a complete reversal of the old system. But Jake did not want to become like the old Confederation leaders. We do not want vassals, Jake said finally. We want partners. If your people can prove they have changed, we will consider an alliance based on equality. The Keplerians looked surprised. They'd expected humans to demand revenge or submission. The idea of equality was new to them. Over the next few months, more alien delegations came to meet with the human government. Some came to surrender. Others came to ask for help against enemies. A few came to offer genuine partnerships. Dr. Nathan Brooks had become the head of human technology development. His job was to study all the alien science that humans had inherited from the collapsed Confederation. Nathan's team had made amazing discoveries. We have learned more in 2 years than most civilizations learn in centuries, Nathan reported to Jake. The Confederation had technology from dozens of different races. Now we can study it all freely. The ancient alien technology that Ryan Hughes had found was especially important. The extinct race had been very advanced. Their weapons and computers were better than anything the Confederation had possessed. But the most important discovery is not technology, Nathan continued. It is knowledge. We now understand how civilizations rise and fall. We know the mistakes that led to the Confederation's tyranny. Amy Collins had built a new communication network that connected friendly planets across the galaxy. Her system was much better than anything the Confederation had used. It was faster, more secure, and it could not be controlled by any single government. Information wants to be free, Amy explained to Jake. The Confederation failed because they tried to control what people could know and say. Our network makes that impossible. Rachel Stone was in charge of exploration and colonization. She led expeditions to find new planets where humans could build settlements. But Rachel's teams also had another mission. They were looking for other enslaved races that might still be trapped on forgotten planets. We found them, Rachel reported during one of her visits to Earth. On a planet called Zarian Welv, there are about 50,000 aliens from a race called the Myleri. The Confederation enslaved them 300 years ago and then forgot about them. The Myleri had been slaves for so long that they did not even remember their original culture. Rachel's team was working with Ellen Davis to help them recover their identity and freedom. Ellen Davis had become famous across the galaxy for her work, helping former slaves adjust to freedom. She had developed programs that helped both humans and aliens deal with the psychological damage of long enslavement. Slavery hurts the mind as much as the body, Ellen explained. When people are told they are worthless for generations, they start to believe it. We have to teach them that they have value and dignity. Ellen's work was especially important for dealing with alien races that wanted to join the new human alliance. Many of these races had been slaves or oppressed peoples under the Confederation. They needed help learning how to be free citizens. Again, Tony Garcia was leading efforts to rebuild the galaxy's infrastructure. The Confederation had built their systems to control and exploit people. Tony's teams were redesigning everything to serve the needs of free civilizations. We are not just fixing the old systems, Tony explained. We are building something completely new. Cities where all races can live together safely. Trade networks that are fair to everyone. Defense systems that protect freedom instead of enforcing tyranny. But not everything was peaceful in the new galaxy. The Vortaki had formed an alliance with the remaining Zephyrian loyalists. They controlled about 30 star systems and were trying to rebuild the old Confederation. They call themselves the New Order, Sam Peters reported to Jake. Sam was now the commander of human military forces. They say they will restore proper hierarchy to the galaxy. The New Order was the biggest threat to the new alliance. Had captured several planets and were forcing the inhabitants to work as slaves again. They claimed that humans had upset the natural order of the galaxy and needed to be stopped. We may have to fight another war, Sam warned Jake. The New Order has about 200 warships. They are not as advanced as our ships, but they have more of them. Jake looked out the window of his office on the space station that served as the Alliance headquarters. He could see ships from dozens of different races docked at the station. Humans, Nexari, Keplerians, Mylari, and many others worked together as equals. Admiral Morrison said a voice behind him. Out. Jake turned around and saw Zixnara, the Keplerian leader. She had been working with the Alliance for months now, helping to locate hidden Confederation bases. What is it? Jake asked. My people have voted, Zixnara said. We want to formally join the Human Alliance as equal members. We know we do not deserve it after what we did, but we hope you will give us the chance to prove we have changed. Thought about all the humans who had died in Keplerian mines. He thought about the cruelty and suffering his people had endured. But he also thought about what Ellen Davis had taught him about forgiveness and second chances. The Alliance is not just human anymore, Jake said. It belongs to all free people. If your people truly believe in equality and freedom, then you are welcome. Zixnar's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Admiral. We will not disappoint you. Later. That day, Jake stood before a gathering of representatives from 47 different worlds. The Great Hall was full of humans and aliens working together to build a better galaxy. 50 years ago, the Confederation told us that some races were born to rule and others were born to serve, Jake said to the assembly. They said this was the natural order of things. They were wrong. The hall was completely quiet as Jake continued. His speech, we have learned that true strength does not come from dominating others. It comes from lifting each other up. The old Confederation fell because it was built on lies and cruelty. Our alliance will succeed because it is built on truth and justice. Jake looked around the hall at all the different faces watching him. Some were human, but many were alien races that had once been enemies. You came to us begging for forgiveness, Jake said. Some of you were our oppressors. Others were fellow victims. But today, we are all citizens of a free galaxy. The past cannot be changed, but the future belongs to all of us. As applause filled the hall, Jake thought about how far humanity had come. They had gone from slaves to liberators.